The Ace Man's keeping busy. Why don't you join us for a live podcast in Irvine at the Irvine Improv on July 10th. And then 4 shows in Covina, California at the Laugh Factory Covina on July 11th and July 12th. Tickets for these and more shows are available at adamcarolla.com. I guess his invite to Bezos' wedding got lost in the mail. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a choice. We're going to mandate get it on. I think Bezos dropped off the invite, but a porch pirate got it before I was able to get home and bring it inside and open it up. Anthony Scaramucci is joining us. He's got a book out, The Little Book of Bitcoin. That's available as we speak. Always good to talk to the Mooch. Good to see you, Anthony.
It's good to be on. I think you would have looked great in that Dolce & Gabbana dress, though. I know your figure, and I think you would have gotten maybe the cover of Vogue alongside of Mrs. Bezos.
Well, I probably would have had to hit the Ozempic pretty hard in the weeks leading up into it. Oh, it's crazy. Hey, you're in New York. You're in finance. A lot of talk about the mayor and the new mayor, and is this guy a socialist? And what about financial companies? And are they going to flee? And are they going to pack it up? He's going to raise taxes, and he's going to put the government in charge of this and charge of that. And I hear a lot of doom and gloom talk. But what's the talk over where you're at?
Well, listen, I get paid to deal in probabilities, so I would say there's a 50% probability that he's a slightly worse version than Bill de Blasio. And there's a 50% probability that he's the new Fidel Castro, and he comes in and he turns the place into Havana. I don't think there's any probability that he becomes Mike Bloomberg or does something constructive or helpful to the citizens of New York. So when you listen to him talk, he's very colorful. He's very charismatic. He's a good-looking guy. He's got a great smile for American politics. He's got that closely cropped beard that his generation likes. And he did something that has to be analyzed. He brought with him 18 to 31-year-old voters. And so when Mr. Cuomo was doing the bell curve analysis, he was making voter participation assumptions that looked like 2010, possibly 2015, but not 2025. And I think this speaks to something broader, Adam, in the culture. There's a very powerful voting bloc that votes the same way every single election. That's the non-voter. There's over 100 million people that are voting eligible that don't vote. But just imagine if you can get a citizen entrepreneurial candidate to bring them into the swimming pool of voting. It changes the dynamics. It changes the demography. So he did that. You have to give him credit for that. But the policies, he is identifying things. So let's be fair to him. He's identifying ills in this city that are true. There's an affordability issue. There's a affordable housing crisis in terms of supply. There's a homeless crisis. There's an education crisis in the city. Less than 40% now of the kids that start in the New York City public school system actually graduate from the public school system. So yes, there's a whole myriad of problems that the city has, but the solutions that he's talking about would make those problems worse. That's the irony of the situation. But you know this, okay? We had my buddy Andrew Cuomo. He is male, he is pale, and he is stale. Male, pale, stale. And this kid, and I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, but I think it's Mamdani. This kid, Zohran Mamdani, is beige, he's bearded, and he's hip. So you put beige, bearded, hip against male, pale, stale, and that's a predictable outcome. So the real question is now what happens if Adams and Cuomo stay in the race? This kid will 100% win. The poly market has him at 70%. If one of them come out of the race, you have to tell me what people are going to do in this city. Are they going to turn out and vote? If they turn out and vote, you can potentially beat them. But remember, there's 3.4 million eligible registered voters in the city of New York, and roughly 1.1 million vote. So you have to tell me, are we going to get more voters into the swimming pool? You could change the dynamics of the race, but right now it looks like he's winning.
Yeah, it's really sad, the identity stuff, because I think it's dangerous. and it's both sides accuse the other side of doing it. But like when I was watching Stephen Colbert last week, and they were like, he's the first, he's 33 years old, and he's the first Muslim, and the first, and everyone's cheering and going nuts. And I was like, well, wouldn't you like the best person in there? I know we're so enamored with the first of whatever ethnicity, or the first lesbian, or the first whatever you are. Right. I'm not that interested in that, but I'm not really interested in it in whoever's flying the plane I'm in being the first to anything. I like the most competent, and I don't know. It scares me a little that we have decided that is paramount or of utter importance, and it's sort of like, I just want the best cornerback in the league playing cornerback for the team I'm cheering for. I don't really need the first one of Irish descent or anything of that nature. I really just want the best, fastest lockdown cornerback out there on the field. And it scares me that we put so much into that. And I really think that Biden hurt himself by announcing that he was going to get a black female, a running mate, and then whatever happened to Biden, and then people rejected Kamala. Like, it just, I would just say the best. Going with the best would help.
All right. Well, okay, but you have to remember something, because you and I have to deal with the world the way it is, not the way we want it to be. We're not in a normative world. No. And so ought and should are terrible words in our language. They're bad for entrepreneurs, bad for podcasters and radio hosts. What we have to look at is the way the world is. And what we did for 35, 40 years, we told younger people that we need to balance things out. It was a white male world, and we need to tell white males to take a powder. We're going to bring in different people to even the playing field. And so the question is, what I think you're getting at, which I agree with, that's fine, but let's take the very, very best people, because I'm sure there's qualifiable people in every category, and put them in the game. Don't just make the hire because it fills a quota bucket. And I think we did a lot of that, if we're both being honest with each other. And so now you have this perpetuation. You have a 33-year-old kid that has lived in this environment, and he's surrounded by 18 to 33-year-olds that have lived in this environment, so they cheer each other on. They were told this is what they were supposed to do. And I think what you know and what I know, that social engineering experiment, while it had some value for the country and the society, it's also put the country and the society at risk. The stuff that's going on in my alma mater, Aaron, Harvard. Is bone crushing to me. It's heartbreaking to me at every level. So you're going to tell me that we've gone so far to the left that we're going to take Jewish Americans who are American citizens, but they practice Judaism, and you're going to have them fear for their lives on your own campus? And you're going to tell me that that's politically acceptable and that's morally acceptable? And by the way, whatever you think of Donald Trump, he's right about this. The way Harvard's handled this has been an atrocity. It's embarrassing to the alumni. It's embarrassing to the administration. It's embarrassing to general greater education. And again, I'm not, obviously the president and I were once friends. I now disagree with him largely on a lot of things, but we have to be honest. We have to be objective. So the whole thing is connected. I'm woke. I have a protected class of people. I get a lot of student loans, which can allow me to push my prices up to $100,000 a year. I'm getting billions of dollars of grants to do research, and no one's watching the political meter of objectivity at Harvard. So I can lurch further and further left, and let's have a left-leaning contest with each other. Who can get further and further left? To the point where it gets into like guerrilla-based violence against Jews. I mean, come on, guys. What are you guys doing? Snap out of it. But it's the same thing in New York. So these kids are voting against their own interests because he's hip, he's bearded, he's cool, beige bearded hip over white male and pale, stale. And then you got Eric Adams. Eric Adams is he's actually done an okay job, but he hasn't run the city properly. He has 71% of the people say he's corrupt. And so you tell me who's going to beat, let's say you don't want a socialist. I don't want a socialist. So we have two guys with inherent flaws are going up a young man that understands Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat.
Yeah,
it's
yes.
a bigger sociological problem than the mayor's race. It's a byproduct of the thing. But let me tell you the good news. If you're a Republican listening to Adam Carolla, send a signal, which is really just noise, but send a signal to the rest of America that the hard left should go harder left. So get AOC out there, Bernie Sanders, Mr. Mamdani, get those guys super hard to the left, and Donald Trump and his group of people will control the majority of the political situation and the policies, maybe 3 decades, because the American people don't like that. So listen, if you're in a Democratic chat room right now and you're saying, oh, this is great, he's the hard left socialist, let's go hard left socialism 2028. That's the message. Okay, you're going to get destroyed because the country's not that. It may be that here in New York for 10, 12% of the population, but it's not that for 340 million people.
Well, it's interesting. And, they were trying to get him speaking to you, talking about Harvard and Jews and globalized intifada, and he wouldn't denounce it or he wouldn't walk it back or whatever it is. He's not. It's kind of it's a very strange position, whether it's him or some of the ladies from the Squad or Ilhan Omar, those types. It's like they're not. They keep saying that they're not anti-Jewish, but everything they do is anti-Jewish, and they never walk anything back. So at a certain point, you keep saying that, but yet every tweet and every speech and everything you do goes against Jews. So I'm going to just go ahead and label you anti-Semitic until proven otherwise, because that's all the evidence you're showing us.
Oh, but let me ask you this, because you're a very smart guy and a good observer of this world. There's this is the highest concentration of American Jews in our population. Okay, highest concentration.
New York.
Yes.
Yes.
And so what are they doing? You got a guy flashing, here's the news flash, anti-Semite, anti-Semite, anti-Semite. The dashboard says anti-Semite. So why are they coming out to vote to protect themselves against anti-Semitism?
Why are the Jews?
He's also saying, hey, I'm gonna tax all the white areas. I'm not gonna tax the black areas or the brown areas, but I'm gonna go very hard at the white areas.
Yeah. So what are the Jews doing in supporting him?
Why? Why are they doing that?
Okay. So the Jews, there's a few things, I believe, in the sort of social dynamic of Jews. Different cultures approach problems different ways. The smartest are really the Asians. The Asians are like, shut up, keep your head down, and just keep printing money, taking care of your family, focus on education, and kicking ass. We're not going to have any groups. We're not going to have any stupid acronyms. We're not going to have, who is the spokesperson for Asians? Answer is, you don't know. I don't know. They don't have one for a reason. I think if somebody stood up and said, I'm going to start agitating about Asian rights, the Asian community would go, shut up. We're too busy kicking ass in this country. So they just keep their head down and they work and they do it quietly. The Jews have this fantasy about blending in and being cool and being embraced. You know what I mean? They're never the athlete that's out on the NBA court, but if they could be the management and make friends with that guy and hang out with that guy and serve, they want to be endorsed by the rock stars, by the musicians, by the athletes, they want to be they want to be verified in a weird way, recognized. And in rock and roll, in everything, in acting, in everything. So their thing is I'm going to do solid by these people. I'm going to be cool. Whatever the cool stuff is, we're going to join the cool stuff. But they don't realize they're always hated and they're still hated. and it's never gonna work for them. I mean, some have sort of realized it's just there. It's never you want the black community to embrace you. They hate you, and sorry, and there's nothing you can do to fix that. But they try real hard to blend and to be on the good side. Like Dennis Prager, my dear friend, he'd always say, if only Jews preached what they practice, because what they practice is a very conservative life, family, education, community, faith, and all that. And then they go out and vote progressive. They're only voting progressive because they want to be liked. They want to be on the cool side of history. It's tough not being progressive, especially if you're working, let's just say you're working in Hollywood, you're working in show business, you're working in whatever. You better, you want to represent LeBron James, you better vote a certain way or he's gonna cut you. So they have a fantasy about, basically banging the tall blonde and being the prom king, and it's never going to happen. Not with those people. Not with the blacks, and not with the squad and Zohran and Zoran and guys like that. They hate them. They never say it. They never say it, but they resent them and they hate them. So
listen,
it's never going to work.
I abhor anti-Semitism. I think that we've gotten way off track. I mean, it's a perverted form of tribalism. I want to judge people like Dr. King said, right, on the content of their character, or not on their religious affiliation, color of skin, shit like that. But, the thing about your show, the reason why your show is so popular is that you are saying what other people are thinking, but frankly, Adam, are no longer allowed to think, because if you say something that's politically incorrect, then you get yourself canceled. And you're like, well, that's the whole basis of my show. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on and see if we can pull ourselves together and get off of what's virtue signaling, which I abhor, and get on to here's what's good for the country. Here's what's good for each other.
Well,
and look, it sucks to be in this position. This kid's going to win. And you ask the question that I'm going to answer, the people are going to leave.
You think they're going to leave? Well, okay, with that.
They have happy feet. Well, are they all going to leave? I'm not going to leave. I'm a New Yorker. I'm going to stay. I'm going to pay the extra taxes. I'm going to hassle with the people in the street and the pod and all the other stuff because I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I'm not going anywhere. I'm a loyal fan of New York, 61-year resident. But I'm not going to Florida. That's not my state. I like visiting there, but I'm not going to move to Florida. But a lot of very wealthy people will leave, and even some people that are not wealthy will leave because of the affordability issues. He's going to cripple. You want to decrease the supply of lower income housing? Put on more rent control.
Of course,
you'll dry it up tonight. Okay,
they never realize what they're doing. We do the same thing in LA. We go, we have a lack of affordable. Yes, because you assholes overregulated and no one can build here, and it's way too expensive. And that's you guys, the ones who keep talking about lack of affordable whatever, have so overregulated this place that
100%.
Nobody's going to develop it or do any business here. Just like there used to be, 13 car manufacturers in California, and they're all gone. Now, they all just moved. But here's the philosophical question I have for you, Mooch. I was talking to Dr. Drew about this.
Yeah, I love him.
I love Dr. Drew. I spoke to him quite a bit today.
Well, by the way, that's how you and I met, by the way. So I always I'm a big fan of Mr. Pinsky.
Good dude. And I said, here's my lament. In life, as a human being, you really just sort of think about evolution, and you go, okay, a jet engine, well, developed in Germany somewhere close to the end of World War II, probably a little before, but put into practice in World War II, right at the end. Jet engine, very crude. And then what did we do? Well, by the time we got to the early 60s, they were in use in commercial airline flights. Well, they keep getting better, and they keep getting more refined, and they keep getting more efficient, and they keep getting safer. And, now there's Honda makes a carbon fiber private jet, probably holds 4 or 6 people. It's got a little jet engine in it. It is super efficient and super safe. So what did we do with the jet engine? Well, we took this idea that is now, essentially 80 years old, and we just kept working on it. And it just got better now to the day where you can get on a commercial flight and feel pretty good about that jet engine, or you could buy a private jet and feel pretty good. Or like I said, the Honda, whatever it is, it's fairly inexpensive. I mean, it's still, I don't know, $2.5-3 million or something, but it's a jet. It's a private jet for, the price that, okay. So why can't we just do that? Get ideas and keep refining them and keep making them better? Because now our children live in a world where jet travel is efficient and it's quiet and it works and it's safe because they did. But they didn't tear it out the piece of paper with the plan on it for the jet engine, rip it up and throw it away every 8 years and go, we're doing something different that never works out. Whether it's Cuba, so now we got Zohran in there and he's going, get rid of the jet engine. I got a better plan. I'm like, why do we have to do this? Do we have to keep going back to this? We keep trying it. We're going to defund the police. We're going to raise taxes. I'm going to create a utopia. We're going to have clean injection zones. We're going to have clean needles. We're going to have vending machines with heroin in them. We're going to have no judgment zones where folks can shoot up in dignity. And it's like, okay, shit show. It never works. And how about we keep refining this great idea, this jet engine called capitalism? How about we just keep refining it instead of taking these U-turns, going back and creating something that'll never work. And then we have to come back again and rebuild it. We did it. New York has seen it. People remember Times Square in the 70s and Central Park in the 70s. We're going to relive that. We got to revisit it. Instead, we could have just kept refining.
Well, I mean, it's said beautifully. I mean, I would like you. It was too bad you don't have the residency requirement. I think that would be a very effective debate with the kid because he's out of his depth. He wouldn't be able to respond to any of that because everything that you said works. Everything he's doing would fail, and we can prove it to him empirically. But it's a nice sentiment, and you have younger people that hear nice sentiment. And remember what Maya Angelou said, Adam. We remember what the person in terms of how they make us feel, not in terms of what they're actually saying. And so he's making these people feel like they're part of a movement. I think if you have a step function and the first question is the city working or is the city failing? I think the general population here feels that the city is in a little bit of a failure zone. It's not working. The crime rate is down, but it's not where when Mike Bloomberg was running the place. And then the second thing is, okay, if it's not working, do we need change? People say, yes, we need change. And then you put up Andrew or you put up Eric. They're traditional politicians in the Democratic cloth. Or you put up Mamdani, who is a new age hipster. What are you going to do? You're going to go with him if you're a young person. He represents change. Oh, by the way, I don't understand what he's saying. It sounds good to me, though. Free buses? That sounds good. Oh, free this? Oh, that's good. Oh, more affordable that? Oh, okay, that's good. No one's sitting around as a PhD in economics looking at the situation, say, okay, that can't happen. That won't happen. This will destroy housing supply. This will make the buses unsafe. This will make the parks unsafe. He's going to let you rob stores. Okay, well, the stores have to close. Oh, yeah. We're going to have go into the store, take $800-900 for yourself, no bail. You can go back tomorrow, do the same thing, and you talk to Police Commissioner Tisch or others. There are 6,000 known criminals in a city of 7.5 million. And if you went after those 6,000 known criminals, locked them up, incarcerated them, got them off the street, the quality of life of the entire city goes up exponentially. So you have less than 1%. You have 80 basis points of people infecting and causing havoc on the other 99.2%, but not for Mayor Mamdani. He wants that. He says that's good. They deserve to take. Those stores are rich. The person running the store is rich. They deserve to take. We have to redistribute the wealth. And if you want to use theft as a mechanism to do that, it's okay. But that's not even dignified, Adam. That's not even a dignified. And I don't believe that, by the way. My parents didn't want that. My parents were very humble, have a lot of money. They wanted the dignity of work. They wanted to have a purpose in the morning. They wanted to put food on the table for their kids, take a rest for a few hours, and go back and do it again. They weren't like, where's Mamdani's free handout?
Open phone. Look, if you're running a business and you let a call slip through the cracks, you might as well just hand your wallet to the next guy. Every time you miss a ring, that's cash walking out the door. You need a phone system that actually works as hard as you do, keeps you in the loop day and night. And that's why you got to get Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. So whether you're a one-person operation drowning in calls and texts, or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, Open Phone is a no-brainer. It's Open Phone. Am I right, Dawson?
Open Phone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/Adam. That's OPENPHONE.com/Adam. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Man, you know the jingle. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need to maintain and repair your vehicle. O'Reilly's always been a big part of my parts life. Always used the ones out in the valley where I grew up, working on my trucks, working on my Datsuns. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, they are friendly. So stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can visit us online at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. This notion of like these people deserve to live in dignity, but in dignity by getting free shit from the government, it's embarrassing. That's not dignity.
Not the way to live in dignity. The way to live in dignity is have a purposeful job.
Yes.
Where you're contributing to the society through your taxes and through your manpower, your economic association, or your woman power. But again, this is going to happen now. And I'm going to submit something to you that a lot of my rich friends don't like, but I'm going to share it with you. You got to have a sense of noblesse oblige. You can't just be rich and say, well, look, I'm worth $200 billion. I'm shooting for, let me have a $50 billion wedding, or excuse me, a $50 million wedding, and I'm trying to get to $1 trillion in my lifetime. You gotta look at what Langone did. Langone is one of the richest people I know, founder of Home Depot. He said, I'm putting $1 billion with a B into the New York medical system. And if you go to NYU, where I went to school, here's $600 million in an endowment to pay your tuition free. So if you're a poor kid with a brain and you can get into medical school, you can come to this medical school for free. Okay, so what we're losing in our society is that noblesse oblige. We're losing it because, and when we lose that, what ends up happening is you have this tumult. Teddy Roosevelt went to the robber barons and said, let's break it up. Let's cut the nonsense. We got to create a middle class. We're there again.
I was at a Home Depot yesterday. I love Home Depots. I spend so much time in Home Depots with my building background and all the rehab of all the houses I have done. I'm at least on my 11th house doing big time construction rehab. I've spent so many hours of my life walking up and down the aisle. Could you imagine if Zohran had the government in charge of the building center? Can you imagine how out of 2x4s and how you couldn't find, you go into the Home Depot, you walk through the HVAC section next to the plumbing section, you want to get a filter for your HVAC system, your HVAC system. You got 27 options in sizes. Can you imagine if the government ran that aisle? How out of your size they would be constantly. How you then go into the tool section, and they got Ryobi, and they got Makita, and they got Milwaukee, and they got Craftsman, and they got everything. You imagine how out of you'd go into the lumber department, and every pile of 1x6 T&G, dog-eared, whatever, would all be picked through, and there'd be nothing but bent scraps that were splintered on the ground. And just imagine the government running the Home Depot versus this oasis of home improvement. I mean, I've been at Home Depot for 30 some odd years. I mean, the fixtures they have now for the bathroom, for the kitchen, it's high-end stuff now. The tile they have, it used to be very kind of pedestrian stuff. You'd use it if you managed an apartment building and you need to get some apartment building fixtures or light fixtures or plumbing fixtures. High-end, brand name, top shelf stuff now just keeps evolving. That's Home Depot versus Government Depot.
Well, I mean, not only I'm in agreement with you, but I'll just add a few facts. And I just want you to think about this. The Chinese tried that. They failed at it. Deng Xiaoping came to the United States to visit Jimmy Carter in the late 70s. He asked to do two things off the schedule. Number one, he wanted to go to an American shopping mall. They took him to Tyson's Corner. Number two, he wanted to go to an American supermarket. They took him to a local Safeway in Virginia. He toured those places. He went back to the embassy's residence, and he wrote in his diary, my God, look at this. How are we ever going to catch up? He had the state dinner. He flew back, and he said, hey, if we don't create capitalist-based reforms and incentivize our citizens to make money for themselves and their families, we're never going to catch up. We're going to be in the Stone Age. And so what do you guys want to do? The Chinese have already learned this lesson. They learned it 46 years ago, 48 years ago. What do you want to do? You want to go back to that? You want to take us to communism, and you want to take us to state-owned stores? Is that what you want to do? Because any state-owned store that I've seen anywhere in the world, Venezuela, Moscow, Beijing, pick the state-owned store. There's no product in the store. People are waiting online for the products. So if you guys want to do that, that's fine. But what I'm really upset about, Adam, is the education, because we don't teach anybody anymore. We have 30-second Instagram clips. We have 85-second TikTok clips, and that's it. So no one's getting a course on economics, market-based economics. No one's getting a course on profit margin and economic rent and how to set up a company where you can make a little bit of money for yourself, but also add value. Home Depot is a very profitable company, but it's adding to Adam Carolla's life. You're going in there and you're able to buy what you need in abundance at very low prices and go back and use them in your home and improve your quality of life.
Agreed. And by the way,
that is a capitalist win. What he's talking about is a socialist disaster.
Also, the material, a piece of 4x8, 5/8 drywall, I don't know, it's $14-15. The studs. By the time, when you add something onto your house or you rehab something in your house, the amount you spend at Home Depot is minimum compared to the price of the amount that your house just went up in value. You may have spent $8,000 at Home Depot, but your house just went up $52,000. If you do a nice job. So it works for them. It works for the homeowner. It works for everyone. But there's a component that I don't understand, which is when you're motivated. It's a human nature component that I don't understand. The problem with the Zohrans of the world is they don't understand human nature, such as the story somebody tweeted that the kid who stabbed the other kid in the bleachers, and then they got the legal defense fund going, and they got, I don't know, $500,000 worth of donations. I didn't know if they called it a legal defense fund, but it was just a was just a Kickstarter fund for the family of the kid who stabbed the other kid. And now the thing's going to trial, and he has to have a court-appointed attorney because they don't have any money because the money's gone. And I said, yeah, that's. And then I said, how do you think reparations are going to work? You can't just dump money off people and go do the right thing. You can't say, look, I mean, every plan they try in San Francisco doesn't work because the plan is we're going to take the homeless, we're going to put them into hotel rooms where they can live in dignity and have a hot shower every morning and get themselves dressed. You come back 4 days later, the place is trashed, the junkies OD'd on the floor. You don't understand human nature. And you understand it with your kids real clearly. It's, you want dessert? Yeah. Finish your broccoli. You eat your broccoli, then you get dessert. Or you want to go to Disneyland? You better not have anything lower than a B on that report card or no Disneyland for you. There is no world where we go, look, we're on the honor system. You can get all Fs on your report card if you don't feel like studying or anything. We're still going to Disneyland, but I want you to do the right thing. They seem to think that people are going to do the right thing without incentives. They don't. They never do. They never have. And none of these ideas work.
Well, I mean, listen, you're saying it way better than me, but that's Reagan's California. What you just said is the rebuttal to the current state of California. Reagan's California was, we're going to incentivize people. We're going to grow Silicon Valley. We're going to make it easier for people to film movies in Hollywood. We're going to get the right jobs. If we have to fire people or we have to get a union to fall in line with the recognition of where the price points are for labor, we're going to do that. The flip side, though, we're also going to make sure that people are making a fair wage, and there is a pathway through good policy for them to actualize and live the Californian dream or the American dream. And so that was the whole Reagan pitch that worked successfully for 20 years. And people don't remember this, Adam, but I'm old enough to remember when California was a red state, and I want to repeat, a red state. Okay, Peter Uberoff, you could name the different governors, okay, Reagan, et cetera. It was a red state. And then it became a dark blue state. And I don't know, is there any going back? I don't know. I feel like people are capitulating. I feel like San Francisco's trajectory is a better trajectory than New York right now. I feel like San Francisco hit bottom, all the catastrophe that you're describing. They brought in I don't know his name, but he's a descendant of the Levi Strauss family, I believe, right? Who's the mayor in San Francisco?
Oh, he just got. There's tape of it. I must like that guy because he showed up at a pride parade and they all shouted at him to go home. So I thought, well, he must be doing something right. Daniel Lurie.
He's trying. Yeah, he's trying to fix it. But he's generally popular. People are like, hey, we had enough.
I'll show you the clip. I think I like this tweet. It was pretty funny because he showed up at the Pride Parade and they yelled at him to go home, which is funny. So he must be doing something right if the gay community is pissed. I just think that's going to happen. His name is Dan Lurie. Yeah, Dan Lurie.
And so he's trying to fix. He's trying to reduce the crime.
Yeah,
he's trying to take professional criminals off of the street. Again,
well, and listen, it's you look. I'm a big fan of San Francisco. I've always been a big fan. It was considered. Me too. It was always considered. I lived in Los Angeles, but if you wanted to go to a place that was even nicer, you would go to San Francisco. Now, neither one is going to work. I'll share this with you, Mooch. Somebody just shared it with me over the weekend, and I thought it was funny. But it's also how nutty everyone has gone. So the mayor I don't know if he's a Democrat or Republican, but I assume he's doing things that are sensible, trying to fix San Francisco, and that's why he got shouted out. I'll play it for you.
Amen.
I just want to point out that it's trans march, and the mayor's talking with the cis dude.
It's not just my part. You want to go around and ask people?
You're not wanted here.
You're not wanted here.
He must be sensible.
How dare you come here?
How dare you come here? How dare you come here? How dare you come here? How dare you come here?
They're following him out.
Larry, stop!
They're chasing him and his aides out of the park where the Pride Festival is. So now,
Hey, you're going
Crazy.
the wrong way. Gary Tan's house is that way. Gary Tan lives that way. You're going the wrong way.
so he must be
He's
doing
your
something
ally.
right.
That's your people. These are not your people. Do something. Do something for trans people. Hang the trans flag at City Hall. Do not come here and pretend to be an ally when
All
you
right,
are
you can
not.
stop it. It's funny because you go, do something for the trans people. Hang a worthless flag above a building. That's not really going to do anything for trans people. I made a funny joke that the mooch won't laugh at when you see it with the tweet, but I said, I think I put it out there. It was a tough joke, but I think it had to sink in with people. Is it on there, Dawson? Is my tweet on there? Dawson will read it. It made me laugh.
The mayor and his aides were run off by gays and their aides.
Spelled AIDS differently. Yeah.
All right, this is why you're Adam Carolla. This is why I could never get away with the shit that you pull. But here's the thing I would say to you about what you're saying. People have had enough.
Yes.
And if you want to keep going in that direction, meaning not you, but if they want to keep going further and further to the left, the country's not there. It's a center-right country. And so Trump and his minions will control the card table for 30 years.
Yes.
So just let them do it. No
I
problem.
agree. You know what I
If you wanna
say?
have a more balanced government, get to the center.
I agree.
Accept what policies work, regardless of what you want to work.
I
Right?
say,
You want everybody to be equal, not going to work.
no, I say to your good buddy, Dr. Drew, and he always agrees 100%. I go, I wish this shit worked.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be cheering it on. It'd be great. We'd have a bullet train that went from San
100%.
Francisco to L.A. He would have cleaned up the homeless problem by
100%.
giving people clean injection zones so they could inject with things. Like, if any of Gavin Newsom's shit ever worked, I'd go, good. You know what? I was wrong. And this is a good idea. But meanwhile, I get to live in a city with no homeless and no trash. And I'm going to hop on that bullet train and head out to San Francisco. I'll be there in about an hour and 10 minutes.
100%. I want exactly what it is that you just said. I want everybody to be at peace and harmony, but that doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you something about human life, okay? We are going to have unequal outcomes. That's just innate. If you want to socialize, you'll have less people at the top because every socialist country, the poor and the middle class get wrecked and the people close to the leader make the economic rent. It's like a funnel of kleptocracy at the top. If you want to have a flat, decentralized system like America, people like Adam Carolla and Anthony Scaramucci can rise. But if you want to do this, go ahead. You're going to destroy the country. But again, my very wealthy friends, wake up. Make the system fair, use market-based policies to make the system fairer. And remember this, Adam, and you know this, but it's worth repeating. Teddy Roosevelt was the father of progressivism. So the term progressive came from Republicans. He went to the trusts like Rockefeller and said, dudes, I got to break this up. You're getting too much economic rent. We're going to flatten the system a little. You're going to be very rich. But why have these poor people descending on your mansion with a tiki torch and a pitchfork? You're going to be very rich. Let's create a platform for the middle class as well. And that recirculation helped the country and built the forward architecture for the rising middle class. You gotta have people in the country that are at that size and scale that want to help the other people. Drop the ladder, fellas. Drop the ladder. Otherwise, the socialists are coming. They're going to set fire to your mansion, and everyone's going to be without a mansion. If you drop the ladder, other people will have mansions alongside of you. Who cares?
I agree. My big raison d'etre is trades. I want people to learn trades. We need
No
them.
question.
You get a good hourly wage. You get pride. You get so
you
much
get better
pride.
than that. I have a cousin that's a plumber who sold his business for over $20 million. He learned that trade in the 11th grade in 1981.
Wow.
And he built a very nice, very competent plumbing business, lots of trucks, very big practice in the neighborhood, and he sold it to a larger plumbing company. So it's not just a good, a good electrician, a good plumber, a good pick the trade. It's a lucrative job.
I agree, but I'm telling you that there is something to kind of rolling up your sleeves and being on your feet and putting things together and stepping back and looking at what you accomplished that day versus crunching data and shuffling papers and doing the same thing you did the same way for the last 100 years. Just there's some sanity to it that we're missing. The air conditioning and sitting in cubicles. And that's why academia, it seems like they're the nuttiest because they do the least of that and have the least of that in their background. Anybody, your dad operated a crane, I believe. People that
41 years.
People that do stuff for a living, hands-on, have a much better pragmatic approach to every facet of life. They don't have a lot of anxiety. Something like COVID comes around, they deal with it, but they don't get into a fetal position and freak out watching MSNBC all night.
Low expectations, Adam. My dad had low expectations. He came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. He used to tell us a story that it wasn't until they had a propane tank and they take a bath. They had a bathtub in their kitchen in northeastern Pennsylvania, and they heated the water at the stove using propane, and they poured it in the bathtub. And his mom washed them in that bathtub, and they all slept in the same room. They were in a poor coal mining area of northeastern Pennsylvania. He then got the opportunity to become a crane operator out on Long Island, which was great because he didn't have to go into the hole and mine coal. And so he was very happy with that job. He had low expectations. But I'm going to tell you something my dad had. May his soul rest in peace. He had aspiration. He was an economically aspirational working class man. And he believed that one of his kids was going to get properly educated and go on and live a good portion of the American dream. You want to take that away from those people? Let's go full on socialism. Let's kill all those jobs and let's have everybody be miserable. The socialism is the politics of envy. I don't like the rich person's house. Let's burn it down. You should be looking at the guy's house and say, how did he do that? How do we train 50, 100, 200 people to do that? And how do we get the other people meaningful, purposeful jobs like my dad's job that he did for 41 years?
A good note to go out on, Anthony Scaramucci. The little book of Bitcoin is out as we speak.
Thank you.
Podcasts as well. Open book. The rest is politics.
I got two podcasts now. Yep. The rest is Politics US with Katty K.
Like her.
She's not my better half, Adam. She's my better 9/10. She carries me in that show.
She's great on Bill Maher's show.
She's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a wonderful personality. She's a classy woman. And we do debate what goes on in the world and the pluses and minuses of it, and some macroeconomic insight as well.
Good to see you, Mooch, as per usual.
Thank you, brother.
Hit me up. Me, you, and Drew go out for a martini whenever you're in town.
I'm going to be. Are you in California in August by any chance or no?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Okay, so my son just got his film into Tribeca, and there's a film festival. I'm going to get a date and take you and Drew out to dinner.
Yeah, get a date, please.
All right. Love you, man. Thank you for including me. I love being on your show. I love listening.
Thanks, Anthony. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. We'll get Elisha Krauss in here. We'll do some news. I got some stories to talk about myself. We'll do that right after this. Homes.com. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. It may be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring the home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. It's the one I use. And if you like real estate, you go to Homes.com. Homes.com. We've done your homework. Simply Safe. Here's the deal. Most security systems, well, they wait until after something breaks, like glass, and someone enters your home before they snap into action. And by then, it's too late. I use Simply Safe because it actually stops crime before it starts. Imagine that. A little ounce of prevention. Their Active Guard outdoor protection has these AI cameras and real people watching your place, making decisions, making smart decisions. If some creep is lurking, the agents can talk to them, flip on the spotlight, even call the cops right then. Not after your stuff's gone. No contracts, no hidden fees, none of that nonsense. Over 4 million people trust Simply Safe. So it's not just me. It's a whole bunch of other people. Plans start at about $1 a day, and you get a 60-day trial. So try it out for 60 days. Money back, guarantee if you don't like it, but you're gonna. It's Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
You can get 50% off your new Simply Safe system with professional monitoring and your first month free at simplysafe.com/Adam. Just head to simplysafe.com/Adam to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this year. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Here's a memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
So, Bert, it's one of my favorite movies as well. I think you're amazing in it. And I just heard a rumor that you weren't proud of it or happy about being in it, but that was just a rumor, and I don't know. But now we can figure that out. Do you have feelings about Boogie Nights?
I liked very much the first scene, which I did, and all that. That's why I did it. But it was a subject matter that I wasn't thrilled with.
It offended your delicate sensibilities?
No, don't do that. You're gonna do that kind of shit with me, I can kill you.
The 2025 Ace Awards, coming this December. Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
The late great Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Had a good run, man.
He didn't kill you.
No, I think I may have outlived him. All right. We'll get into some news with Elisha Krauss.
Yes.
Her op-ed for the Washington Examiner, Newsmakers. It's weekly, right?
Yeah, it is. They keep having me back. I don't know why.
Well, you must be doing something right.
Same here.
All right. Yeah. All right. I went out and toured Malibu because I realized we're right about the 6-month anniversary of destruction, and nothing is going on over there. They cleared all the sites, have been cleared of debris.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's something I didn't really think about that people need to kind of think about. And I think we married some of the visual stuff to my prediction from my hotel room the morning after. But in Malibu, when you're along PCH, when you're along the ocean.
I was there this weekend, too.
They were.
Yep.
Clearing the debris, so to speak, is one part of the job, and it's fairly easy and simple. The tough part that they haven't even touched is the foundation.
I know.
All of those pylons going down into the earth, and the caissons and the grade beams and the footings. I mean, some of that stuff looks like a bunker.
And it's all that's left.
It's like all that's left,
driving.
But clearing out the burnt out stucco and 2x4s and redwood fencing is pretty lightweight. Getting that stuff out of the ground, which is still there, is a completely different situation. I mean, that's like bunker buster type material to get some of that stuff cleaned up.
Get some U.S. bombers to come in.
Trump says he's calling a strike on Karen Bass. And so I said to my guys, I said, look, I went there and filmed before they cleared the place out. And I said, let's go back and see where they're at in 6 months, which is now. And we filmed again. And I said, marry that footage to me in my hotel room the following morning after I was displaced from Malibu, and my predictions. It's about 4 minutes, but it went a little bit viral. The following morning after the fire, I left at, 8 or 9 at night the night before, checked into a hotel in Burbank. The power was out. It's an interesting, kids, if you're listening. I get displaced sort of in the middle of the night and pack up whatever socks and underpants I can put under my arm and go to a bad hotel in Burbank and check in.
Because what people that don't live here don't realize is Malibu is like this long stretch along the coast, and there's very few like canyon roads that go through. And other friends that were displaced from Palisades, Altatina, and Malibu, there were no hotels in a certain vicinity.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of lucky that you could even get one 35 miles away in Burbank.
Yeah. And so the following morning, the winds were so gusty that when I woke up the following morning, I was told that the power was out in Burbank, or I should say in Glendale, where my studio is. So now it's the morning of after, and there is no power in this building that we broadcast from. So I sort of went, well, just run a best of or something. the power's out. I got displaced. There's no studio.
There's a lot going on.
And just find me interviewing Bryan Cranston or something. Just play that. People understand. But then I thought, I don't know. It's a little bit of a moment, and I guess people would be listening from parts of the country or the world. Maybe they'd want to know my bird's eye view of what happened since I was there. So
that's not a bird's eye view. That's like a in the weeds,
I should say,
view and like emotional experience.
You're right.
Sure.
You're right. Even though I don't get emotional, but you're right. It's not a bird's eye view. It's it's a boots on the ground kind of view.
Yeah.
So I think we hit up Dawson and told him get a mic and bring it over and hook it up, and we'll just take a iPhone and put it on a tripod, and I was literally in my hotel room in Burbank. I just pulled the table over and pushed a sofa and got a chair and just sat it down. And I just went on a, solo soliloquy, probably lasted 45 or 50 minutes. And it ended up going viral just because it was authentic and you could tell I was not in a studio and I was speaking the truth. But anyway, my predictions 6 months ago, which was literally about 10 hours after the fire. Here's my California Malibu Palisades recovery permit prediction, and we'll marry it to the drone footage of what's not going on over there. You will not see any new construction, is what I'm saying. The comedy is the guys who lost their $20 million homes on the ocean side of PCH will be knee-deep in the permit process. They will be trying to pull permits when the guys in the Winnebagos will have been back for months. Homeless.
Months before those guys ever get a permit. As a matter of fact, good fucking luck. Because here's the deal. Alan Hamill and Suzanne Summers moved because they could not get a permit to rebuild their home of 40 years on the ocean on PCH, right? So here's what's going to happen. Let me just give you guys a little primer of what's going to happen. You know how Bill Maher seems real conservative now when he's like arguing with Jane Fonda about regulations, too many regulations, like strangling everything? Because remember, when Bill Maher tried to put solar in his house in Beverly Hills, that's when he turned against the government. because he saw what the government and the overreach of government and overregulation does. He got strangled. It took him 3 years to build a solar shack. He had a whole countdown on his show, day 1,000 since I've got my permit for my solar. He turned. Okay. The people who live in Malibu, who live in Santa Monica, who live in the Palisades, those are some of the most progressive blue voters in the world, or in the United States. They are a bastion of blue. So what those guys did is, all the people in the Palisades, I checked it out. It's about 80% blue, 80% progressive, 80% Democrat. Now, these pussies are all sitting around crying about Karen Bass, water pressure, how come the forest wasn't cleared of all the brush, what's happening with the infrastructure. You guys all voted for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. You all voted for Gavin Newsom. And now you fucking get what you get. Oh, now that your house is on fire, well, now you're thinking about something else. Now you want to know what's going on. What's going on around here? You didn't give a shit about what was going on when other people's houses were on fire, but now you care. So here's what's going to happen. All these people who were deep blue Democrats are now going to have to pull a permit to rebuild. And they're going to get the 28-year-old bitch from the Coastal Commission telling them to go fuck off. And then they're going to vote for Trump or whoever's Trumpian next. You see, they're going to get turned. They're going to get turned hard because, as I've always said, live in the rent control apartment in Santa Monica, fine, good. We know how you vote. Go deal with the city. Try to pull a permit. These are going to be thousands of homes, super wealthy people, and these people don't want to live in Van Nuys. They like it where they are. They love Malibu. They love the Palisades. They love Santa Monica. There's going to be a whole bunch of rich people, and they're going to go, I'm rebuilding, and I want to rebuild as fast as I can. And between the part where they go in to planning commission and plan check and initially try to pull a permit to the time the first load of lumber, the first load of 2x4s is dropped off on their lot where their house formerly stood, it's going to be 3 years. And 1,000 permits and 1,000 arguments and 1,000 discussions with the Coastal Commission. When they start getting the regulation, they're going to go nuts. And when they start running into the bureaucracy and the red tape, they're going to start going nuts, and they're going to vote for Rick Caruso next time because they want to get. That's all Trump says is we're going to pull back the regulations. We're going to free people up. They're going to find out. They're going to get bit by their own snake. They are going to convert. I am telling you, these are the bluest people on the planet, and they're going to be fucking ripshit pissed when the city and the Coastal Commission tell them to fuck off. And by the way, I don't think the Coastal Commission is going to okay anyone rebuilding any of their houses on the coast because they say they're in the business of protecting the coast. They're in the business of getting you to leave. They will get their wish, which is no buildings. And they're going to make it hard for everyone. And then we're going to have to restructure the whole thing because we can't have 9 angry lesbians controlling everything that goes on in Malibu, the Palisades, and Santa Monica.
All right. So 6 months in, 0 building.
Yeah.
Going on. 0.
And it's not just Malibu, though. It's broadly, I was, because I'm a nerd, I went to something about the restructuring and rebuilding of Los Angeles out at Pepperdine's School of Public Policy. And there was a Democratic congressman, I can't remember his name, and he was trying to say, like, oh no, we've sped up the permits. Our church is providing rent-free space to a church from the Palisades that still hasn't gotten the permits to rebuild their preschool in their church.
Oh.
Like, that's a religious... not even like super rich multimillionaires and billionaires that want to rebuild their mansions on the coast.
Yes.
Like, these are like average middle class, lower income, like religious people that want to have an affordable place to send their kids to preschool and go to church on Sunday. And the government still hasn't given them permits.
Well, it's really what we call it permits. What they want is control. Permit is control.
You're right, yes.
What do you want to do? I'd like to rebuild my church. Oh yeah? You want to do that? Yeah. No. How about that? And what else do you want to do? I'd like to turn my garage into a small apartment. Who wants to do that? I do. Who's paying for it? I am. No. How about that? Who's in charge? Who's really in charge? You know what I mean? No permit for you. No, I don't live in... These bitches don't even live... The Coastal Commission people, no one lives in Malibu. No one lives in the Palisades. They could never afford it.
Maybe they're depressed, and so they're just up in Sacramento, like...
Yes,
red
they
stamping
are.
Everything.
That's their hobby, is controlling you. Hey, you need to wear a mask. Where? Everywhere. How about when I play the bassoon in the Philharmonic? Yeah, put a hole in it. Who's in control, bitch? We are. We're in control. We'll fucking tell you everything to do.
So what, say you did have all the money in the world and you had the resources to just, I don't know that there's a contractor or anybody in LA County that if you're like, here's the money, just go do it without the permits.
There should be a fucking, there should be a revolt. There just should be a large,
I'm saying, how many
scale.
people can we create a revolution? How many people do you need to just take back their own freaking property? Remember they had this issue.
There's a job called an expediter.
Yes.
Where you have to go pay somebody who goes, listen, I know how the city works.
Yes.
I can, but you got to pay me.
That's so
and
progressive.
I'll go deal with the city. It's like,
yep.
Oh, I think they call it, it's sort of like bribery. Like I'll bribe a guy who knows guys and plan check so I can get this fucking thing that should have taken 2 days done in 6 months instead of 6 years.
Only in government that is filled with progressives do they claim to want equity and equality, more so equity than equality. And they require somebody like you're in communist Russia to like wink, wink, nod, nod, handshake, cash in hand deal to get things done for people with means.
It's been 6 months.
Because people without means can't do that.
I toured all over Malibu and the Palisades. There's not one sheet of plywood, 2x4. There's no building materials. There's zero building. There are trucks that are still hauling debris, and there's long arm excavators for like getting debris off the side of the hill, but there is zero in the building department. Nothing new, nothing going on. Karen Bass sent out a picture like 6 weeks ago with just one house being framed somewhere.
Didn't she have like a ribbon cutting ceremony for something and being like, we're speeding up permits, and they're
not doing anything.
No.
They don't care. They don't want to. They don't know how to do it. And they're not interested in you or your permits. And they don't work for you. You obey them.
They've also, it's because they've never built anything.
They've never dealt. Karen Bass has
not to quote Barack Obama, but she didn't build that, right?
No.
Like she did not. She's never built a business.
No,
she's never had employees that weren't paid by taxpayer dollars.
They have disdain for people that build stuff. It kind of shames them, I think, as part of it. Yes, no, they're incompetent.
Oh, you think it's internal shame, and that's why they like to screw over businesses?
I think
that's interesting.
There's a bit of shame. Listen, if you've ever been in a relationship or even had a roommate where they spent a lot of time on the sofa, and you went, look, you got a sink full of dishes from 2 days ago. You made lasagna. And they go, yeah, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. And you go, you know what? I'll just take care of it. You go start doing their dishes. They never come in the kitchen and go, oh, thank you very much for doing it. They're more angry. Like, okay, dude, you made all the dishes. You left them in our sink for 2 days. Now I'm cleaning your dishes, and you're actually more pissed. But are you more pissed or are you shamed?
Oh, or maybe that was a part of their evil plan all along, is to make you do their dishes.
They get shamed. Karen Bass and all those whoever's never ran a business, never fucking did anything, can't put in a light bulb, can't build a house, forget about, pulling a permit, building a house. They don't like the people that are doing things. It shames them. And Karen Bass tweeted out a video. Oh, yeah. It was.
Oh, yeah. This was the one I saw. Homes are under construction. We've cut the red tape.
No. Well, first off, I feel like it's one picture of a house that I've never seen. I don't know where this is.
It's in the Palisades.
There's nothing else around it being built. And by the way, it's not like there's one house that's framed in sheer wall and the roof is skinned and everything with plywood. Why aren't all the other houses in different various levels of construction?
Exactly,
Like, why
just
isn't
that
there
one.
a foundation 2 lots away and a half-framed house?
It would actually
next
be
door?
fascinating
Nothing's
to see.
happening.
Remember when Trump came and he did the round table and he was like, we should let people clean off their own freaking land?
Yes.
And everybody was like, heck yeah, we should. It's their land. I would bet $100 that this person is one of the people that actually cleared their own land, which they had to get permission for.
I think that
which is such bullshit.
I think somebody said. I think they just offered up one permit and said, "Let's just get one thing done, so it can seem." It's literally like a model house.
Well, we talked about it. The one that was permitted was one that received its plan less than 10 years ago, and so it was
Oh
very
my
easy for
gosh.
them to resubmit the exact same plans that
Yeah.
had already been submitted.
Anyway, there's nothing. There's nothing being built. I don't know when it's going to be built.
I saw a lot when we were driving down the PCH. I saw quite a few. I thought I'd maybe see one or two, but I saw quite a few just like empty, cleared lot with the piling still there for sale.
Want to hear a
I
conspiracy
did.
theory?
$6 million for one.
Empty
Yeah.
lot that you're never going to get permits for.
6,000 square foot lot, $6 million, 10,000 a square foot. By the way, a beautiful, magnificent custom home in a beautiful neighborhood like La Cañada or something like that is $1,200 a square foot for a built, beautiful custom home.
So like, why would you stay?
So you're spending $10,000 a square foot on dirt in Malibu. That's how crazy those prices are. But the conspiracy theory, Dawson,
They're going to use the 2028 Olympics and the increasing difficulty on rebuilding the Palisades to force low-income multi-residential housing into the Palisades.
Right on the
and
beach,
call
man.
Call it athlete quarters.
ooh,
And it's going
And
to be
then
a big
repurpose
world
it
thing. And
after.
if you face it, you're against. If you're against it, you're against the world. You hate the Olympics. This has to happen. We need athlete housing.
well, either way, it's been 6 months and it's a big fat zero burger over there. There's nothing.
It's so sad.
And it's also, I
And
agree.
it's really negatively affected the economy of Malibu. People don't realize, like, of all the businesses in Malibu, they don't just rely on the summer. They rely on the year round. Pepperdine is a huge employer. There's big corporations that are based out there. It's something like over 5,000 people actually commute into Malibu for work. Half of those have been completely displaced, like, and don't have jobs right now.
And if you can't get it done in Malibu, it's not going on. Sorry, I had
what about
hiccups.
freaking
Anywhere.
Altadena?
There's nothing there either.
Like, what
I just
about?
drove through there today.
It's awful.
I looked around. Well, so the thing about Malibu is a lot of people in Altadena were underinsured, and they don't have means, and they're not going to be able to rebuild. People in Malibu, the guy with the lots on PCH that are $6 million,
It's his second home.
probably fourth. I mean, honestly, it's not second. I mean, it's second, third, fourth. I don't know where it lands, but there's multiple. Those guys are living in Bel Air right now, but they have the ability financially to rebuild, and they have a connection. Like, they have money, they know people. They can hire an expediter. They can hire architects,
They can donate to
engineers.
Gavin and Bass's campaigns and see things happening.
But they're not able to do it. So I'm saying that the people that
You're saying even the people that could typically get shit done even can't get shit done.
yeah, the people that have the money and sort of can take resources and go, look, I'm going to hire a guy. He's an expediter. He's going to work with the architect. The architect's going to hire an engineer. Engineer guy, we've got to pay for soils reports. We got to get all this stuff going. Good. Here's a check. Go get started. Get going. Pull permits, plans, plan check, soils reports. Just go. They're not going. Nothing's going on. There's nothing building. There's nothing getting built over there.
I think, what you said about Altadena is so true. The people that I know and have friends in Altadena that lost things, it was like starter home, like first thing they could afford in LA, and they really love the neighborhood. And then I think that I'm a fan of like some of what Joe Lonsdale does and stuff, but like I feel like you saw Shapiro.
Who's Joe Lonsdale?
Joe Lonsdale is Palantir. He's like a billionaire libertarian guy. He's buddies with like the PayPal mafia and stuff. And I saw him and like my brother from another mother, Ben Shapiro, and others being like, well, it's all these rich people that lost their houses. I don't know. I have friends from the Palisades who like were living in third and fourth generation homes, and they could only afford to live there because it was their great grandma's home or their great grandma's home.
Altadena is very working class.
Yeah,
very working class. I drove by my dad's house; it was still there.
Wow.
He sold it. I mean, they sold it days before the fires came on like a Monday, and the escrow closed on like. Sorry, the fires came on a Friday and the escrows closed on a Monday. Like they sold their house and it was in escrow and then the fire came, but it didn't burn down.
You know, that happened when my family relocated when I was like 6 years old from Miami, Florida to Oklahoma. My dad stayed and like boarded up the house because Hurricane Andrew hit.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
He was out there like protecting the house because it was in escrow. So he sent my mom and my sisters and our Akita dog and the Volvo wagon to Oklahoma.
Akitas. I love Akitas.
Aren't they great dogs?
They're beautiful.
I'm trying to convince my husband that that's what we need to get for the kids.
Shedders, man, but beautiful. Beautiful. Worth it.
And really chill for like such a big, scary looking dog.
Yeah, the best.
Ours was named Daisy.
You kids having a big dog is the best.
Right?
I got to tell you.
Okay, we're going to save this clip and send it to my husband.
I got a lab named Phil, and he's like 110 pound. And one day I just like opened my son's door, and Phil was just sort of spread out, like conked out on the bed, and my son was sort of conked out next to him, with his arms sort of half around him, and Phil's snoring and his jowls moving. My son's just flopped out, and I was like, "That's why I got that big dog."
See, for the man that said that he had no emotions, that's an emotional moment right there. A boy and his dog. It's really sweet.
I tell everyone I was a dog in a basketball hoop away from having a decent childhood. But I didn't get a dog, or all I wanted was a dog in a basketball hoop, and I would have been pretty good.
Decent?
I would have.
So I got to get my kids a dog and a basketball hoop because the Krauss house has neither at this point.
If you have a dog and a basketball hoop in your driveway, like on the garage, you only had your childhood can't get below like a 4. I mean, listen, you could be abused or raped or something when you go back in the house, but I'm going to take that off the table. If you have,
I mean, there are rednecks that have basketball hoops and dogs, and their
if you have a dog and a basketball hoop, it's only so bad.
Over under on whether or not J.D. Vance's grandma had a dog and a basketball hoop, and his childhood was pretty rough.
I bet she didn't have a basketball hoop. I bet she had
an
old
rusty one without the net.
I don't think so. You know why? Because a basketball hoop suggests a certain amount of effort that the family goes, my son would enjoy playing basketball here, you see. If you have a pool, a dog, and a basketball hoop.
Oh, we got a pool.
You can't go below 5 in the childhood department.
I mean, this is true. It's summertime, and we are swimming every single day. And my kids are living my, like, ideal childhood.
Now,
and my childhood was pretty dang good.
You get the lab, you put the dog, goes in the pool, and now you really got a Hershey's, Reese's peanut butter cup of enjoyment with the dog chugging in the pool and getting out and the kids running around.
We can get a golden retriever, name it Buddy.
Buddy, put him in the pool.
You know, like make him a lifeguard, living my childhood Disney movie fantasies with my own children.
Yeah.
Was it Bud? Was Air Bud Disney or was that
Air Bud? Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Air Bud. The dog in real life had to have his leg amputated.
What?
I swear that's a true story. I cannot remember.
No.
But I think the dog from Air Bud had its leg amputated.
Okay, can I say something kind of unpopular as much as I love animals?
Mm-hmm.
I would choose if I would choose to put a pet down before making them live a life without an added limb.
Well, keep that in mind next time you roll your ankle. Okay.
No, but I'm human. There's a difference between
Noted.
There's a difference between me as a human being with a soul and like an animal. I just feel like it's really pitiful. Like, listen, I've seen 3-legged dogs and they look adorable.
His right
And
rear
some of
leg
them-
was amputated.
I just feel like it's kind of sometimes I think that dog owners make that decision for themselves versus for the animal. And I'm like, it is an animal, and there's a difference between animal life and human life. And I would say a human being walking around or not able to walk around deserves that life more than a dog with 3 limbs. That's all.
But if you have enough money.
But are you doing it for the dog, or are you doing it for yourself? If the dog is living in misery,
now they have these little, little chariots they get in now and roll around in, and prosthetic this or that. Like, dogs are hopping around. I've seen a couple of 3-leggers in my neighborhood over the years, and I see people walking them and stuff.
They seem happy.
It's always the front leg, though. I don't know about the rear leg. Yeah, 3-legged dogs are fine.
Oh, Airbud.
I'm
gonna watch that with my kids this week.
I'll show you a picture of the $6 million property.
Wow.
I don't know. This is a weird picture. It's just a picture of the beach, really.
Well, it's a
really
picture
of the property.
Something that was really weird that we saw too was a guy just like in a beach chair amongst the ruins.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I guess the beach technically is open, but how weird is that? It felt very eerie.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I never know if it's something nefarious or it's just incompetence. I always just assume it's incompetence, but I'm starting to think nefarious at some point. I don't know why it's not happening. I have no idea. It's also kind of thing where there's no appetite for it. Like, you don't hear people upset and crying out about it and going, what the hell's going on? This is insane. I've been yelling about it my whole life.
But even if you do, I mean, I follow people who've lost their homes. And like I said, I have friends that lost their homes, and I'm constantly hearing it and seeing it. But I feel like, well, the news that we talk about, right? Like, well, what's trending? Like, what's happening on social? What's happening in the world? Like, the 24/7 news cycle, our brains are like, we're like squirrels with information. And unfortunately, human nature is time has passed. And so the rest of the country and the rest of the world is like, okay, so these people lost their homes. And liberals suck and liberal government sucks. So now what?
I get it. It's like, there's a thing, which is, Karen Bass, the mayor, all her tweets are about fighting Trump and standing up to ICE. And it's like, hey, bitch, how about some permits? How about you tweet something about the permits?
Let some middle-class families rebuild. That'd be nice.
Or Newsom. Okay, you're going to fight Trump. Great. You're going to stand in the way of ICE. Great. Now, how about something to do with rebuilding?
That'd be nice.
And by the way, I don't want you in the emotional subjects. I want you in the nuts and bolts department, like permits. Like, if there's anything the mayor should handle, it's permits. But she's not handling permits.
Doesn't she even have a deputy in her office that also deals with that? Like, it's not full-time her job, but if I were her, I'd be making it my job.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick Caruso does more, like, going out there and meeting local leaders and stuff.
I know.
I do hope he runs for mayor again. I've been hearing rumblings that he wants to run for governor, and I'm like, nope, we need you here in LA. Please run for mayor.
This summer, Pluto TV is exploding with thousands of free movies. Summer of Cinema is here. Feel the explosive action all summer long with movies like Gladiator, Mission Impossible, Beverly Hills Cop, Good Burger, and Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Bring the action with you and stream for free from all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
All right, what do you got in the news department?
Well, speaking of mayor, know that we were talking about New York earlier, and AOC, of course, endorsed the super duper, what's he calling himself, Democratic Socialist Mamdani?
Yeah.
But also, I guess a yearbook photo of her came out because, she's this girl from the Bronx.
Yeah.
She's just AOC from the Bronx, like J-Lo. So she finally broke her silence on the yearbook photo, but still clung to the Bronx girl claims. And the reason why she had to address it is because it was from a suburban high school in Westchester County, which, for those who are aware of the New York area or the tri-state area up there, Westchester County ain't the Bronx.
No.
She said she was proud of how she grew up and talk about it all the time. My mom cleaned houses and I helped, and we cleaned tutors' homes in exchange for SAT prep. Growing up, now she's changed it too, between the Bronx and Yorktown, deeply shaped my views of inequality, and it's a big reason I believe the things I do today. And we actually have some audio of her like talking about this Bronx thing.
Remember, everyone, 10 minutes ago, remember Kamala Harris from Oakland, right? Except for no, she went to a prep school in Canada and where she worked at McDonald's. It's unclear whether she worked at the Canadian McDonald's or the Oakland McDonald's, but yeah, why are you creating something?
Just don't create a false narrative. Like, stick to your story.
What? Let's really just take a deeper dive. All right, let's play the clip of Jenny from the block over here.
We should put that music under it too.
Supposed to run for office.
I'll just start from the beginning. We never know. We always forget the audio part.
Women like me aren't supposed to run for office. I wasn't born to a wealthy or powerful family. Mother from Puerto Rico, dad from the South Bronx. I was born in a place where your zip code determines your destiny. My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm an educator, an organizer, a working-class New Yorker. I've worked with expectant mothers, I've waited tables and led classrooms. And going into politics wasn't in the plan. But after 20 years...
Pause it there.
Can I call bullshit on that? Politics was always part of her plan.
She didn't include the part where if you elect me, I promise I'll go to the Met Ball.
But it went to charity, Adam. It's totally fine when it goes to charity.
All right, we can keep playing it. I guess there's more, right?
Has New York been changing for? Every day gets harder for working families like mine to get by. The rent gets higher, healthcare covers less, and our income stays the same. It's clear that these changes haven't been for us, and we deserve a champion. It's time to fight for a New York that working families can afford. That's why I'm running for Congress. This race is about people versus money. We've got people, they've got money. It's time we acknowledge that not all...
Listen, here's what I'm saying. First off, who the fuck cares where you're from?
But this is a part of
no
the
one
narrative.
cares.
Actually, I know you say no one cares, but the right does this too, right?
Yeah,
like when it comes to Herschel Walker or there's even like other people, like Republican women who run for office do this too. I think that humanity does care about the where are you from, what's your story, like are you the underdog?
Oh, I'm not saying no people.
Like but when it's on the left, it's the well, what's your ethnicity and are you poor like me? And she's trying to portray it as this.
No, everybody does. Look. You're there, when you run for something, you're there to brag, essentially, about your
she called herself a
qualifications.
champion. We need a champion. You're like insinuating that you're a champion. How narcissistic is that?
You're there to talk about, you could be starting a business or raising a family or being a firefighter or something. No one goes, I beat off on a futon a lot, and now I want to make decisions that are going to affect your life. You know what I mean? It's always... Whatever, married for 25 years, 3 beautiful children. I mean, you brag. Okay. Yeah. And people don't like to go, my dad was super rich and he was the governor, so he kind of got me the job afterward. You do this thing and I do it. Everyone does it. You know, I go, well, I'm rich, but I didn't have anything growing up. I didn't have a hoop or an Akita.
That's okay.
And that's fine. It's fine. But it's not like I'm from North Hollywood. It's more like, here's how I grew up. I played sports. I had this kind of family. I learned to work hard. I work construction. But I don't always go North Hollywood, parts of Valley Village. So, like, just fucking leave it alone. Everyone's just born somewhere.
So this not only came up again over the weekend because of the yearbook photo, but it came up because Trump, bashed her on X. And he called her one of the dumbest people in Congress. And then she replied back, also, I'm a Bronx girl, and you should know that we can eat Queens boys for breakfast, respectfully.
Yeah, she moved to Westchester when she was 5.
She was raised there.
And she raised it.
And then she carpet bagged into the Bronx because I know people right, left, and center that were looking at that specific congressional seat and were like, with the right campaign, that's pretty winnable for us. And that's exactly what the Democrats did with her. They carpet bagged her into the district, and now she's like made this a part of her persona. And listen, like, representing, NBA winners this week. But like, I'm from Oklahoma, but I haven't lived there in 20 years. Like, now I'm kind of a Cali girl too, but these are my Oklahoma roots. Like, there's truth to that. It's on my wiki page.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about it every 5 seconds. She has tried to make this like Bronx too a part of her thing.
I mean, look, first off, everyone, I left Kane, Pennsylvania when I was 5. I never talk about it. Ask me where I got my grit. I'm a Kane boy.
If you're Joe Biden, you would though.
I know. I was 5, and I left Kane, Pennsylvania, and I came here, and then I grew up in North Hollywood. So that's right. But she left when she was 5.
Yep.
And then she grew up in a nice white suburb.
Yep.
And she's lying. But she's not lying any more than Kamala Harris was lying about the whole Oakland thing. Yeah. I suppose the Oakland thing was less a lie because Kamala left when she was like 12 or 13 to go to a ritzy school.
I mean, that's a pretty formative age too.
Yeah.
Like to live somewhere until you're 12 or 13.
I'm all for accuracy and there's whatever.
But I'd still say like, I have friends who send their son to a boarding school, but he's still a kid from LA, even though he goes to boarding school.
You always leave out this other part.
Yeah.
You're trying to make yourself into some sort of hard Scrabble group, whatever. That's what she's trying to do.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Why? You mean
because the victim mentality wins on the left.
I get it, and it's sad. It's like somebody going. It's like if some guy goes, "Oh, man, I'm the funniest stand-up you've ever seen. Who do you like? Oh, you like George Carlin or Bill Cosby or Bill Burr? Funnier than all those guys." And then you go, "Okay, well, do 10 minutes of comedy for me." And I go, "I'd like to, but I got the trunk with all my props in it in the car." And you're like, "Well, what do you need the props for if you're the funniest guy ever? Like, if you're just who you are and you're good, what do you need? Why?" Okay, you worked at McDonald's, or you didn't work at McDonald's, but just go get up on the debate stage and blow us away, or tell us about your policies. So I don't really care about you. I worked at a McDonald's. Who cares?
Yep.
It was 40 years ago. Nobody cares. That's my point. I wouldn't care if Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's 42 years ago. It'd be neither here nor there.
But she's trying to make herself seem
I care that she's lying about it.
Oh, absolutely, because I think that says more about the lack of character. Or they just want to be a chameleon. They want to like try to fit in every crowd ever. They want to fit in like on the billionaire's mega yacht.
Yes.
And then they also want to fit in like with the minimum wage worker that actually has to work at McDonald's to make ends meet.
By the way, the Sandy Cortez.
Yes.
That's her name, by the way. That's what you've named. That's what guess what they called me in high school? Adam Carolla. Yeah. You want to know why? That's my fucking name.
They didn't call you AC?
A couple friends call me Ace. The point is this. Her name is Sandy Cortez. So she changed. Or she's doing whatever she's doing, but she's doing something that's trying to get you to do something and fool you. Out here, we had Antonio Villaraigosa.
I remember.
Tony Villar's that guy's name.
Yep.
He is Tony Villar, guy who failed the bar 5 times. That's his name. It's not Antonio Villaraigosa. It's Tony Villar, who failed the bar 5 times. Maybe he didn't like Tony Villar because it rhymes with failed the bar. You want to go with anything that rhymed with failed
even Kim Kardashian passed the bar, and that guy couldn't.
Did she pass it?
Yeah, didn't she pass the bar? She like studied. She didn't.
She studied for the bar.
She studied and she passed. That's what.
Oh, she passed. She must have taken
on
it
Instagram.
recently.
Yeah.
Oh, this just happened?
I don't know if it just happened. I thought this was a while ago, but she like studied for it and like was talking about how she took it and passed it.
I remember her
because in California it's
it.
just a pass or a fail, and you don't know like what your percentage was.
Well, I do know Tony Villar, who never passed the bar, failed
5.
it. I'm pretty sure he failed it.
City.
I'm pretty sure he failed it 5 times. He could have failed it 4 times. The only smart thing Tony Villar, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, the only smart thing he ever did was realizing he's too stupid to pass the bar
and
finally quitting. And I'll just run Los Angeles.
Run it into the ground. He used to run away from us at like pressers and stuff too.
December 21st, Kim K passed the baby bar.
What's the baby bar?
It's a juice bar. It's a juice box. I don't know. She didn't pass, is what I
thought she did.
She's studying for the bar.
Oh, sorry. I thought
she
I saw a whole thing. She was like,
"Can you do this?"
America, including Elisha Krauss, always know the third time I go, I don't think so. If I say 3 times, that's when it's time to pack it in.
Well, she's good enough to be a lawyer because her Instagram caption had me thinking that she passed it. Real slick with those words.
She can do that. But Antonio Villaraigosa, did he fail it 4 times or 5 times?
But remember, he'd be talking normal and then he'd be like, Antonio Villaraigosa.
I know.
Like he'd just like.
His name is Tony Villar. Her name is Sandy Cortez. 4 times.
And by the way, just go with your name, Sandy Cortez. Like, why did you have to change your name?
Why did you have to say you worked at McDonald's if you didn't work at McDonald's? Like, we're trying to create something that doesn't exist.
It is the Joe Biden, like, playbook, though.
Oh, my God.
Plagiarize the things, lie about the things, say that you were places where you weren't. Hillary Clinton did this, too. Remember when she was like, I was shot at and it was so scary? And then the military guys were like, nope.
Also, to be fair, Kamala was born at a hospital in Oakland, but she spent her early years in Berkeley. That's where her parents died.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Joe Biden was like, when I was out in South Africa freeing Nelson Mandela, 1984. Like,
Literally.
You weren't there. You weren't there, Joe. By the way, you're a sociopath to say you were.
Joe is also on the moon.
Joe's everywhere.
So I have some friends that I love in politics, but the older I get and the more I see things and experience things, the more I strongly think that you have to be a certain level of narcissist to run for public office, especially at like the AOC Kamala level where everything is about you all the damn time instead of the people that you're actually serving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like Hollywood. Like, I think every actor that's like, oh, it's so embarrassing to get accolades. Bullshit. Like, that's why you're doing it. You wanted the accolades. You wanted the money. You wanted the attention. Just admit it, and I respect you a little bit more.
I think there are a subset of politicians, a subset of musicians, a subset of actor performers who actually feel like I have a craft or I have something that I want to share or I have an idea or what
that can
have
help
you.
people or make them feel happy or good or create memories or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I got into show business to get paid, essentially. That's all I wanted to get paid. And I also felt like I didn't want to swing a hammer. And I felt like I was funnier than people. So I was like, well, I'll just get paid to be funny.
But I appreciate that honesty. Like that you saw some people and you're like, I'm funnier than that guy.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, well, that guy's getting paid. Then I could get paid. And that's what happened. But then part of getting paid is being on TV or being on a stage or holding the microphone or doing whatever we're doing now. That's part of it. So I understood that. I guess the question is beside that part of it, it's like, a race car driver is being seen by millions of people driving a car, making a lot of noise, but they also love doing it. And it's kind of what they do. Yeah. So, and when they get in their passenger car, they kind of just go slow and, obey the speed limits and take it easy and stuff like that for the most part. I mean, they understand probably more than most people the inherent risk of being in a passenger car versus
an F1.
Yeah.
So you think Lewis Hamilton takes it easy? Not that he's on the 405. He doesn't live here.
They realize that their office is one of rollover cages and fire suits and helmets and 6-way harnesses. And they have a very, you're strapped in. Yeah. It's safety. Now, you're going 200 miles an hour, but it's safety. Those guys do realize that the street is really probably more problematic in the danger department.
Is it still true? And maybe this is just something my mom told me when I was a kid, so I wouldn't take off my seatbelt in the back of that Volvo station wagon.
Volvo?
Oh, yeah. But
wow. In Oklahoma?
I know we were the only one. We were literally the only one.
Neighbors like, I don't know if they're gay or they're communists. Maybe, but something's wrong with that Volvo family.
She had a Dole Kemp sticker on there, so I think it was allowed. But no, we'd have to go to Dallas, Fort Worth to get it fixed. So it was the only.
My mom had a Volvo too.
Yeah, she did not have a Dole Kemp sticker.
No, but she was a progressive, but she would say to me, she'd go, I drive the Volvo because it's the safest car. But my family's so broke and she was so cheap, her cars she bought were like 16 years old. And I'm like, a Volvo is a safe car, but yours is 15 years old and there's a new Ford Fiesta has airbags and crumple zones and a rollover, something. You're driving a Volvo from 79, which was the safest car in 79, but it's now 91. And so it's no longer safe because it's 20 years old.
Pretty sure my parents had a 91 Volvo for 1,000 years and it was my first car. But my mom used to always threaten us that like most accidents happen within a mile of your home.
Well,
And so I'm saying, is that like what these professional race car drivers understand? Like that there is maybe a greater risk because on the track, they're also dealing with people that are as capable as them behind the wheel of a race car. But on the 101, you're dealing with 99.9% idiots.
All right, I'll say a few things. One is the most accidents occur within, 6 blocks of your own home. It's like when they go, most shark bites happen in 3 foot or under of water.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah, bitch, because that's where we are. I don't get dropped off into the middle of the sea. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone is in 3 feet of water. Once you get out to 40 leagues of water, not so many people frolicking. Everyone's in the 3 foot to 4. Basically, you're in the 2 foot to 4 foot zone.
So you think that's the accident?
That's all the humanity. Everybody does 86% of their driving. It's not like I commute to Bakersfield to go to work every day. It's all within this zone. 80% of it's within this zone.
That makes sense.
So you apply the shark bite theorem to the driving theorem, it's the same.
Taking that and sending it to my mom.
Tell that to your fucking mom. Straighten her hash out, number one. Number two is a guy who races cars in myself. Once you race, it's so much fun that once you get on the street, it's like it's kind of boring and it's like you're not into it. And it's like you don't feel like you have to get it out. It's basically...
So do you prefer to be driven?
Mixed martial arts guys who don't get into bar fights because it's like it's out of their system. No, I go nuts. I cannot have people drive me. They go too slow.
Especially the Uber drivers that talk too much.
I'm shitting on my own points, but I'm telling you, they don't flow enough. I need to flow. I don't need to go fast because who cares? I need to be efficient. Like just sort of move.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more. What do you got?
Well, we have Charlize Theron. There's no audio or video of this, though, because this was at a private event over the weekend.
I hate her.
She was less than impressed, but apparently, by Amazon bajillionaire Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's star-studded $50 million nuptials in Venice.
Hold on. See if Charlene is like every one of her adopted kids transitioning.
Charlize?
Oh, sorry, Charlize. I was thinking of Charlene Tilton, the super hot one from Dallas or Falcon Crest.
Charlize Theron is pretty dang hot. You know, Mad Max Fury Road.
Listen, she's a tall drink of water.
You picked the one where she's missing an arm and bald.
Yeah,
she's
come on.
so badass in that.
I know, but not hot. She's better with both arms. According to you, you'd put her down.
No.
That's what you said.
I said I'd put a dog down.
You said... If somebody, why bother having a limb removed when we can just put a bullet in your head?
I did a whole thing. I love the selective hearing here. I did a whole thing where I was like, human being, different, greater than animal. That's what I said. And I said, sometimes I think that human being dog owners are a little selfish and they're like, oh, we're gonna amputate the leg and he's just gonna have the best quality of life. Is he though? That's all. Just take a pause.
Well,
that's all.
All right.
Anyway, but we're not talking about me. We're talking about Charlize.
She has a boy birth now, daughter. She pissed me off so badly.
Oh, what had happened?
She did something that, most people kind of go like, who cares, a celebrity talking or whatever. But she had this statement, it must have been about 7-8 years ago. Dawson, Andrew, you can probably find it. Could have been 7 years ago. But she's from South Africa. Mm-hmm. She's adopted African kids, I believe. Mm-hmm. And she announced that there are cities in this country she would not go to because she feared for the safety of her kids.
Yeah, it was after the first Trump term.
Yeah.
It was during the first Trump term.
And it's like, bitch, you come from a place that does have that. We don't have that here. Number two, why don't you tell us what cities you're speaking of? Like, be super specific.
Yep.
Thirdly, you're implying it's because we're racist and white supremacists. Your kids aren't in danger from Ted Nugent. They're in danger from kids that look like them. And there are plenty of cities you shouldn't go to filled with black kids that your kids will get shot at.
Just don't go to the south side of Chicago.
Right. So how about you shut up, bitch, or go back to South fucking Africa and bring your black kids with you.
So at a party,
and the transitioning one as well.
At a party over the weekend, she ripped into Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. It was for her Charlize Theron Africa outreach project. And people that attended said that she said, quote, "I think we might be the only people who did not get an invite to the Bezos wedding," the actress deadpanned on stage during the event. It was at the Universal Studios back lot here in LA. And she said, "But that's okay because they suck and we're cool." She went on to add, according to the Hollywood Reporter, she went on to thank her guests for being there and taking the time to be a part of this, especially when the world feels like it's burning because it is. Then she continued, "Here in LA, in the US, and across the globe, we're moving backwards fast. Immigration policy has destroyed the lives of families, not criminals. Women's rights are becoming less and less every day. Queer and trans lives are increasingly being erased.
Fucking zip it.
And gender-based violence is on the rise. This isn't just policy, it's personal." As the crowd applauded all of her remarks, she reportedly added, "Yeah, F them."
The quote, and I don't know what year this quote is from, but you can look it up. There are places in this country, Charlize Theron says, places in this country where if I got a job, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't travel with my kids to some parts of America.
What parts?
They never say, by the way, they never say anything.
Except when they wanted to boycott the whole state of Georgia. Remember that?
Joe Eagle was on the glide path. I know, they always do that, like, systemic racism, the racism. And I go, what? Tell me the policy. Mm-hmm. What is it? It's a racist government. Good.
Don't say gay in Florida. I can't go to Florida anymore.
Shut the fuck up. I know. They're so nuts. Wouldn't travel with my kids to some parts of America, and that's really problematic. I love that word. She says there are a lot of times when I look at my kids and I'm like, if this continues, I might have to leave. Okay, bitch, it's been 7 years. Get the fuck out of here. It's been 7 years.
But she's got to fundraise here because she knows that Americans are super generous.
They might have to leave, by the way.
But she never said where.
If this continues, I might have to leave because the last thing I want for my children is to feel unsafe. Well,
and go where?
So Orange County is pretty white, and there's quite a few Trump voters there. Charlize, would your black kids feel safe in Orange County?
Or how about just all of California that isn't LA or San Francisco?
Your black kids wouldn't feel safe in Oakland and in Baltimore, in black places. So, but you may flee. It's been 7 years since you said this, bitch. Shut up. She's the worst. They're all the worst.
Do you think that she's just a little butthurt that she was actually the only celebrity not invited? And I actually, so here's my theory. She's pissed that everybody went to Venice to their wedding instead of sticking around LA and coming to her event.
Yeah.
That's
no, Bezos sent a tweet out. It's like, I don't want that bald, one-armed bitch anywhere near my gondola.
Put
her down. Put her down. Yeah, like you said. Put him down. I got an uncle lost an arm in the war. Should he have been put down too?
How many times do I have to be on the show before I can be like, roll the tape like Adam does?
I heard put them all down.
I specifically
You called my uncles a veteran, an American, an animal. Well, I hope you're happy, Elisha Krauss.
You said euthanize regardless of service.
Lord
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
All right. I am going to be doing a couple shows. Actually, one show at Irvine at the Improv. That's coming up on the 10th of July.
Don't bring any of your black friends, because according to Charlize, it might be unsafe down there.
They're not going to be safe. They never show up anyway. Covina, Laugh Factory, couple shows there. That's coming up on the 11th and 12th. And also Zanies in Rosemont, Illinois, coming back to the suburbs of Chicago, doing some shows there. That'll be July 16th. Just go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Elisha Krauss, what do we got for you again?
Oh, just Washington Examiner and the Gram.
And Scaramucci, the little book of Bitcoin. Until next time, it's Adam for the Mooch and Elisha Krauss and whomever I'm forgetting saying mahalo.